I think we are at a point now where keeping up with the features and functions that are rolling out from each of these platforms is almost a full-time role now because you have to really test and evaluate everything. We've tried to, and Lee and I have talked about setting up an innovation lab of, how do we evaluate these things in a more AI-centric fashion, without getting into the gobbledygook of the deep technology layer, like, how many flops is it doing or the number of tokens that are being consumed, et cetera. The advice we're giving to clients has been, look, whatever your baseline foundation is, just keep your eye on the others. Like if you baseline and say ChatGPT is our GPT of choice, fine. But you also want to say once a quarter, we're going to take a look at what Anthropic has. Once a quarter, we're going to take a look at what Copilot comes out with. And ironically, Microsoft has continuously updated Copilot to keep up with the latest innovation in ChatGPT. And now they're starting to integrate.
Yes, I think several times. If you haven't, I'll explain it to you. If you take a look at the on the left-hand side of the chasm, that side of the chasm is where things are measured in months and years. And think about that as the Gartner hype cycle, things on the left-hand side, where you're dealing with machine learning and large language models and prompt engineering and tools and agents. And those, they pulled it out of the professors in the classroom. They've elevated some of the other professors at Georgia Tech to be in that AI space and set up AI as a major across all majors in the school, which I think is a great way to do that. I don't know if anybody have any thoughts on that. Ken, I'll pick on you.
Yeah, I think, what we try.
Yeah,
My mind is blank. No, just kidding.
mine is blank. Okay. All
Let's
right.
let's ask the audience. We got people on the phone. You and I can talk all day long, Lee. We know this. So
I know.
let's grab a few folks.
Okay. Sharisi, did I say that right? Lumpkin, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, sir, you said that correctly. Hi, everyone. My name is Sharice Lumpkin.
Logistics companies actually implemented AI in their back office where they were gaining efficiencies and streamlining of the process. When it came to shipment processing, transactional paperwork, matching of what's called rebills or accessorials, which are an additional charge that a carrier may put on a particular shipment after the shipment was executed or while.
That we talk about annual revenue of the company. And we had some conversations over the course of the last week. Do you measure revenue per head count, or do you measure the contribution margin or EBITDA per head count? So if you're doing a benchmark, a lot of CEOs will accept the fact that, oh yeah, I'm generating $1 million per head count, when in fact they only may be generating 2% profit, whereas somebody else is generating, 250 million, but they're generating a 10% margin contribution, so they're actually making more money than a $1 million company. I remember there's been several years when Delta was not doing very well that we actually made more money than Delta Airlines. So it's not the loading it up.
I'm a big believer that, you've got to get a wide funnel, right? So the way to think about it from that is, the first part is awareness and interest, right? So are you doing enough on your social platforms and promotional platforms to generate awareness of the services you're trying to sell, right? And you're basically taking a shotgun and seeing if it.
That is purely account-based marketing. And it's a land and expand mentality in terms of how you're doing business with those folks. But if you started one of those 20, 30 years ago with the databases that kept track of all the people in the accounts, you have significant legs up on what's going on. In 2006, I know Ken remembers John Roskell. John called me. He was running North America for Microsoft. Document apart. And when you start doing that with complex documents, it can get really, really interesting, and take a fair amount of time to do that, to write the prompt to do it. But yes, in fact, you can do it. Load in new content, and it will recreate the new brochure for you with your brand on it, with the new content in place.
Don't you find that often?
And people are saying that all the computer science jobs are going to melt away. What do you tell them in terms of what to do with their career now that they're 3 years in, and they change majors? Do they go someplace else? So it's going to be a fun conversation that we're going to have next week to talk
Tell them
about.
to learn AI.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
exactly right. And
Exactly.
make it your best friend,
Yeah.
and augment yourself with it.
That's right.
As opposed to, don't give it one of these. If you give AI one of these, it's not going to be such a great day for you.